Good evening and welcome to the public session of the January 11th regular meeting of the Eastchester Fire District. It is 10:06. We started the night at 6:45 with our reorganization meeting. We had a promotional and award ceremony at 7:30, then a quick reception across the street at the Bronxville Firehouse. Came back here at 8:45, have been in executive session since, and now we're in the public meeting. So getting a lot accomplished tonight, and everybody's still got lots of stamina, right? So we got another couple hours in us.
And we should reintroduce Tom now because this may play differently than the reorg meeting.
Okay, sure. Tom Roach was elected in December to serve a 5-year term. Tom is a 20-year resident of the town of Eastchester. He's a retired captain from the New York City Fire Department, where he served 25 years. Tom's been involved in local civic community organizations over the years in town, and now is going to help us with the administration of the fire department. So welcome, Tom. Glad to have you.
Thank you, man.
And Mary, at this time, can I just read a letter that Mary Marvin sent over about the election? And
do me a favor, let's do that at the end, that's fine.
Sure. Just remind me to do it.
Yeah, I'll certainly remind you. Okay, so we are going to be doing things a little bit differently just because of the hour and how things have gone. Our chief was celebrated tonight for his promotion to chief, and so we've given him the balance of the night off. He's not here, so we're not going to have his chief's report, but he'll hit the highlights of this past month at next month's meeting. So the first thing I would like to do is read the treasurer's report. The treasurer was also here for the reorg meeting, but we gave her the balance of the night off, but she has prepared a report, which I'll quickly read. As of 2017 year end, the financials present a net budget surplus of approximately $950,000. Certain expenses coming in under budget that contributed to the surplus include hospital, $117K, certiorari, $110K, maintenance worker salary, $42K, professional and consulting and legal fees, $129K. With respect to the certs that we have notification, she's making a note that the certs we have notification of additional $82K of future settlements. However, no orders of payments have been received for these cases yet. Budget transfer recommendations will be forthcoming at the next board meeting in February to close out the 2017 year. Accounts that came in over the budget for the year and require a budget transfer include overtime, $38K, workers' comp, $20K, uniforms, $17K, certain salary lines including firefighter, $41K, and lieutenant, $3K, and Station 4 capital improvement project, which was not specifically budgeted for in our original 2017 budget, but which was $25K over budget. Other matters. Our year-end audit with BST and Company will take place the week of February 19th, 2018. We expect to receive our PERMA audit findings this month. Based on a review of the preliminary work papers, the EFD will owe a balance this year due to the retroactive salary payments versus receiving refunds in past years. No interest is imposed on this balance. We are also in the process of completing the required ACA, Affordable Care Act filings and 1099s this month. That was the treasurer's report prepared by Jamie, read by me. Okay, Brian Tween, next month.
Accept that?
I don't think we need to accept the treasurer's report.
No, we can.
Next order of business is payment of bills. The board has reviewed the bills and warrants and makes a motion to pay them. Treasurer Jamie Hedstrom prepared the bills, monthly bills for the board approval prior to the meeting. The chief has reviewed all bills prior. After the board review, the board will pay the bills that were marked for payment totaling $260,568.26. One warrant was for $259,216.86, and then there was a credit card bill of $1,351.40. Again, the total is $260,568.26. There was one late addition. We held a reception next door after the promotional and award ceremony. We had to pay the vendor with a check tonight. That was for $1,250. What was the firm? Cafe 52. The food was excellent. I highly recommend that you use those guys if you're having a party in the future. Really good stuff. So can I have a motion to pay those bills?
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
Second.
Okay. Dennis, Anthony, poll the board. Stu?
Aye.
Anthony?
Aye.
I'm aye.
Aye.
Dennis?
Aye.
Tom? Okay, motion carries. Okay, next order of business, approval of minutes. Secretary Gutierrez has prepared the minutes for the board meetings held on November 16, 2017, and December 14, 2017, for approval by the board. These two have been submitted. We're going to look to approve these tonight. Lisa has been working diligently on finishing the minutes for the meetings where we were without a secretary last year. I think she's, very close to complete. But these minutes were, after she was hired as secretary, she's up to date on those, and she's going back and finishing up the other minutes. But anyway, do I have a motion to approve the minutes for November 16th and December 14th? Stu?
Yep. Did I
Second.
see those minutes? I don't know, Sheriff, was I at both meetings? I think there was one meeting I missed.
Dennis Winter?
I saw it.
Dennis Winter, you were both.
Was it both? I don't think I remember
I
reading.
second it. Yep.
Okay. Stu?
Aye.
Dennis?
Aye.
Yes, yes, I
I'll
say
say
yes. Dennis is yes. Tom, you weren't here, so we'll abstain for you? Okay. All right, meeting dates. In the past, the board has taken a little bit of heat for switching the meeting dates around. There was a good reason we did that historically. The composition of the board was a little bit different. We had two gentlemen who had jobs that, were such that they had a lot of conflicts with a specified meeting time. So to accommodate those guys and to make sure they would be available for important votes, we tried to be flexible on meeting dates. I think the composition of this board is such that we can set dates out in advance. We've discussed it amongst ourselves. We believe that the second Tuesday of each month represents a good date for the board to meet. So we'd like to pass a motion setting the meeting dates for the first half of 2018. Now, July and August are holiday months. We're probably going to be flexible with when we schedule the meetings in those months, but the game plan is that come August, we're going to identify meeting dates for the balance of the year and set them at that time. Second Tuesday of every month is going to be 2/13/18, 3/13/18, 4/10/18, 5/8/18, and 6/12/18.
Whoa. Okay.
Do we have to make a special resolution to supersede what says here in the code book on that? You don't?
I think that's a guide. It's not necessarily a rule. We've been doing other meeting dates anyway. I think
Okay.
the more important thing is that the public knows in advance when we're going to be meeting. It's the second Tuesday, and we're setting it. And I think the public will be understanding of July and August being heavy vacation months, and that we may
I
change.
think that's fine. I mean, we're adopting a calendar in order to give them some kind of basis to go off of, and things will transpire where perhaps a meeting that's even supposed to be on a second Tuesday may have to be moved due to something locally, bad weather, an event, these things are all normal, but the adoption of a calendar is a step in the right direction, and I would make that motion to do so.
Okay, can I discuss this? I like the idea of variable meeting dates on a volunteer board like this, because we all have, I personally have a lot of commitments that I make. Now, they happen to be travel-related, but I do a fair amount of traveling, and I do have other things to do. And when I was chairman, I always tried to manage the meetings to get the most board member participation, and I tried to include everybody on every meeting, and it was painful doing because it's hard to get everybody to arrange a date. It's like herding cats or something. It's not so easy to do. So that part I understand. But I also think that, there's board members who, like Tom, may be retired, but he has a large family commitment, that having a fixed date is very difficult for people. And so myself personally, I like the idea of flexible dates, because we don't get participation. And I think if we do this, we should monitor the first 6 months how much participation, because the goal is really to get community involvement. That would be your goal. You wouldn't be doing it for any other reason but that. And it'd be interesting to see how much community participation we get with these standardized dates, I suspect it won't change. But it will be a hardship on some of the family members if they have to go, if, we have to attend these meetings and give up something else to come here. So that's why I particularly like a flexible date, and that's why that's what we always did, is a flexible date. And Peter is correct, we did have a few board members that had very demanding schedules, and, this is a volunteer service, and we recognize that. So I'm not in favor of a fixed date. I know I'll miss more meetings with a fixed date. I just will, because it's hard to plan around that when it just is.
I appreciate those comments. My hope is that, yes, for February or March, maybe you have already made plans on one of those. I don't know if you have, you haven't. But if we establish the second Tuesday, everyone, if it's in your calendar, you're working around that date. And, I found the flexible, my schedule is such that I was able to accommodate. But I have to say, a lot of times I was changing commitments so that I could meet a date that other people on the board, to accommodate other members on the board. So I don't know. I see a lot of value in establishing a set meeting date. We can all prepare, around those dates so that we don't have conflicts. And we'll see how it goes. I hope that community participation improves. I also hope that we'll find that we have, strong attendance amongst board members at these meetings. So I'm in favor of doing this. But I think we've had, anyone else want to make any comments, or should we go to a vote?
You know what? I'll second the motion, because if I get into it, it may get too heated. So I'll just second your motion, Peter.
Okay, so,
What's funny, Dennis?
It's going to get heated. We're having a friendly discussion.
okay, so, I made the motion,
I second it.
Anthony seconded, I'll poll the board. Stu?
Aye.
Anthony?
Aye.
I'm a yes. Dennis?
I'll say yes, because you guys want to go in this direction, but we'll see how it plays
Okay.
out.
Tom?
Aye.
Okay. Motion passes.
Here's the minutes back.
Okay, thank you. All right, it's kind of late, and we're going to revisit this more, but one thing that the board has done in the past is we've briefly touched on, a discussion of board goals in the coming year. I want to be careful that we don't set the bar too high. I think we've accomplished a lot. I think we look back, and we'll get more into this maybe next meeting, just because, like I said, it's late now. But I do think we've accomplished a lot. But really what I want to do is set some big goals for ourselves, but goals that we're realistic to achieve, and that we can really put all of our efforts into getting done to improve, the district. So I've noted a few things here that I'll quickly mention. One thing that Commissioner Rabin has mentioned that he would want to say a few words on. So after I go through these, he'll probably say a few words. But the goals that I came up with, one would be impaneling the ethics board as per our code of ethics, and addressing the POC protocols, which Dennis has raised issues with. I don't think they should be eliminated, but we can certainly work towards modifying them so that all board members hopefully are at least okay with them. We also, this has been going on for years, but I think we're finally close to getting Narcan on our apparatus.
It's been approved.
Oh, we're done.
It's been approved, it's just training.
Yeah, okay. All right, so Narcan is going to happen, it's imminent. We still are looking to purchase several new pieces of apparatus. We're hoping to get those ordered. At this point, I don't know if we'll get them delivered within a year. I still think there's a pretty decent shot, but that's a goal. Chester Heights, which we've talked a lot about in these meetings, we've completed the roof. The goal for this year is to complete the balance of the exterior work and to plan and put out for bid the interior work on that firehouse. We're not going to get that interior work started this year, but I think if we can get the exterior done, have the planning and the bid process done on the interior by the end of this year, that would be a big accomplishment. And those are the things I had to say. Now, I know Stu wanted to mention a few things on the ethics panel, so I'll...
Yeah, thank you, Peter. Peter, in our reorg meeting, gave a pretty good description on the base of what we're trying to do, what we're going to do to support some of the directives that we've been given. This first came about in public session. I think we discussed at our September 11th meeting when we were in Tuckahoe. We had a kind of an open conversation with both us and some members of the public talking about the idea of putting together an ethics panel with the use of local residents from the town and the two villages to sit in on issues that we feel we may want a third-party outside eye on to give us an opinion, not necessarily directive. Every other motive that we have up here would be done during the normal course of business. But if there was a matter that we felt needed to have an extra set of eyes on, and we wanted to have a panel of people or residents to do so, the Village of Bronxville does this, which I think has been working out for them really well over the last couple of years under Mayor Marvin. I did have a conversation with her about that, and she gave me some insight as to how they have set up theirs. I think right now we're in the broad stroke capacity with ours. We haven't had a sit-down discussion yet, but we should probably in the next month to discuss how we're going to take those broad strokes and kind of watershed them down into specifics to the point where we can then approve the creation of the panel and then thereafter go ahead and find people who would be interested in joining it, the parameters that they would have to fulfill, etc. I think it's a great idea. I know there's been a lot of discussion during our meetings over the last year about the idea of conflicts of interest or thoughts about people being too close to certain issues. As one of those people who have been implemented in or implicated in that, I am all for having an ethics panel coming in and giving us an opinion. So for me, I think it's a great move to do this year, and I hope that the board will at least be open to discussing it, and hopefully we'll get there. So
I think this year is going to be, well, the residents going to be a wake-up, not for the fire district per se, for village government, town government, fire district. We're all living under the new Republican tax bill. And the new Republican tax bill excludes your property taxes. So if you're a Bronxville resident, your average property taxes are $40,000 a year. Of that, $4,000 is fire district taxes, probably 900 and change is town itself taxes, the majority of it's school district taxes. But your tax bill, depending where your income stream looks like, but your tax bill to fund this fire department got significantly bigger. And to fund the school got significantly bigger and fund the town got significantly bigger. But the boards like this are going to have to find ways of making sure that tax bill is being used properly and our budgets. I mean, if we were doing in the perfect world, we'd have to cut our budget by about 25% right now just to make up for the difference of that change in the tax law to a high-tax community like Bronxville or Tuckahoe or Eastchester. We are not the typical American city or town that could hit with the tax law change. We are the epicenter of it. So I think the onus on this board is going to be, and it could be a real painful one, is figuring out how to, budget's going to be a real problem because people, they may not wake up to it in the next 6 months. Maybe when they start doing their taxes and they find out what's not really deductible and what is deductible, and some people will benefit by the higher standard deductions, but the typical wage earner in a village like 10708 or 10709 or 10707 is not going to appreciate this bill, and local government just got very expensive for them. So I think as we think about our goals for 2018, we have to think about how we're being funded, and that's not a good one. So, but I concur with everything else that was said, and every year we submit goals, we usually knock most of them off, which is good.
And I would say, too, just to piggyback on what you're saying, Commissioner Winter, is I had a quick conversation with Jamie today, and she said that she would be happy to, hopefully by the next meeting, if possible, if not the meeting after, try and put together some kind of presentation for us to be able to put as a part of our meeting, and then eventually it'll be on YouTube and wherever else, to show how exactly the fire district budget could be affected by, the highs and lows of this new tax bill, to kind of give people maybe a more educated visual of what that means. So if she's capable of doing that, I know I would love to see her perspective on it, because she does do all of our finances And we do rely on her, especially with, you can never start on the budget too soon, even though it does have a season of August to October. If she's able to give us some insight this early in the year, I'd be interested in seeing that. So she's going to try and put that together for us.
It's going to be, clearly, every government entity is going to be looking at ways to do some belt tightening. Nobody's going to come close to a 25% reduction.
No, but
which reflects it, and I don't think the
Anybody.
public is going to tolerate it.
No, I agree.
My personal opinion, and this is just my opinion, is that this is going to show up more in property values, and that's what'll take the hit, because I just personally don't see, unless we can deliver close to the same level of service at a significantly lower price. And the same goes for the school district, and the same goes for the town. You know, there's only so much cutting you can do.
Correct.
So that's what I think. But
You know, that brings up a good point. Maybe there is a way between us, the town, the 2 villages, and the 3 school districts, so to speak, if there was a way for us to band together, and I know that towns and villages have done this before, we've done it, to try and bring in professionals to either weed through certain laws or certain changes to healthcare. I know when the National Care Act was coming back about, a lot of municipalities were hiring specialists to go through that to figure out how exactly that would either benefit or not benefit the municipality. Maybe there's a way for us to work with some of the local municipalities to see how this tax law will actually affect us individually, and we could, you know, get a rate to hire an agency to do so and see how that could be just something to look into.
Yeah.
You know.
I think Peter's points are correct. It's not going to be, we're not going to be able to reduce our budget significantly or materially, but the public, it may force the public to become more aware of their local government, whether it's passing a school bond issue or a fire bond issue, if we go out for bonding on something, or for, I think, but clearly your true cost of your taxes went up a lot. And in 2000, I think it was 15, I put every house in Bronxville, I put on an Excel spreadsheet, every house, what they pay in town tax, village tax, school tax, sewer tax, and I listed, you know, every tax you have for every property in town, and then compiled it into the averages, and it is staggering. Some of the numbers are quite large, and so I think it really will have an effect in these communities. It just will. So I think it's going to be a budgetary challenge going forward, because people are going to, maybe people will start coming to these meetings, hopefully.
okay. Next on the agenda is, I had one thing that I wanted to briefly discuss. We have, because of staffing shortages that we had in our administrative office, you know, the commissioners have been handling administrative responsibilities for our technology, email, website, stuff like that. I think now that we've got the front office fully staffed, we should look to kind of transition those, you know.
Oh, I think I would see the chief. I would love to see the chief or somebody or Jamie is quite up to speed on computers. It doesn't take that much time. Basically, when Jerry Napolitano left at the end of December of that year, he said, "Okay, Dennis, here's the password for the server. Here's the password for Twitter. Here's the password for do it." And so I've basically been doing all the typical IT admin. I've been the IT admin. And I perfectly don't want to be the IT admin. And then we had Mike Rogan leave, and the new chief came in, so we had this turnover, like Peter's saying. So I think it should go into the career staff. So if the chief can do it, or Jamie can do it.
I would prefer not to put that on the chief, but certainly I think Jamie or even Lisa potentially, but we can maybe discuss a little bit more after speaking to them.
I'm all for moving that on to the next person. I don't have any, you know, that's one less thing. It's like coming to this meeting tonight. First time I came with a blank sheet of paper, and I was perfectly happy with that.
Okay, we'll go with public comments. Anybody? Yep, come on up. That one's.
Good evening, John Howard, Vice President, Local 916. First, we'd like to welcome Commissioner Roche. We
Thank
look
you,
forward to working together, and welcome to the board. Secondly, we'd like to thank you guys for a great ceremony and an even better reception at Bronxville. It was great. The food was great. Their ceremony was very, very nice, and thank you for that. And the third thing is, every year Local 916 participates in Toys for Tots. We collect toys from residents who drop them off at the firehouses. And for the last few years, Local 916 has been the biggest collector in Westchester County. And the Marines are very excited when they come to Eastchester to collect. So we want to thank the district for allowing us to use the firehouses as drop-off locations. And we also want to thank the residents who, without them, it wouldn't be possible. So thank you so much for all you guys do for us and for the residents. And good luck in the new year and Happy New Year.
Thank you.
John.
Appreciate that. Okay, board comments. Dennis, you said you wanted to read a letter?
Mayor Marvin and
I think Tom wants-
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, Tom.
Just a couple things briefly. I'd like to welcome Commissioner Roach to the board. I want to congratulate Brian, Bruce, and Danny on their promotions, and I want to commend all the members that were awarded awards and citations for a job well done. One date coming up is the annual Elmsford Seminar, the Lieutenant Andrew Fredericks Memorial Seminar. It's February 3rd at the Marriott in Elmsford. This year, the topic is Collier Mansions and Hoarder Home Fires. So that's a mouthful, but it's a firefighter's worst nightmare. The two speakers that they have are both from the FDNY. One is firefighter Robert LeGros of Ladder 39 of the FDNY. He's also the chief of the West Haverstraw Volunteer Fire Department. And the second is Captain Ken Bigby of Engine 63, and he's a life member of the West Haverstraw Volunteer Fire Department as well. Those both will be conducting it. Registration and exhibit starts at 7:30 in the morning. Program runs from 9 to 1. That's all.
Thank you. Okay, board comments.
Okay. Mayor Marvin from Bronxville asked me to read a letter to the Board of Fire Commissioners that she sent over, and it's regarding Stephen Baker's time on the board. So this is from Mayor Marvin. I had a village commitment at the time of your last meeting. Otherwise, I would have attended at the podium to deliver these comments in person. On behalf of myself and many, many Bronxville residents, I want to thank Commissioner Stephen Baker for his dedication and exemplary service to all of us. He is a man of intellect, character, courage, and measured judgment. He balanced the needs of our dedicated firefighters with those of the town taxpayers in a fair and transparent way. Never one to personalize issues, I believe he was a true steward to our community, the highest compliment in my judgment. On behalf of so many, I extend thanks and gratitude to Stephen for a job well done, and send greetings and warm welcome to Mr. Roach as he begins his term. Mayor Marvin. So that's from Mayor Marvin, and thank you, Mary, for sending that over.
Anyone else have any comments?
No? Okay.
Okay, can I get a motion to end the meeting?
Oh, sure. I'll make a motion in the meeting.
Second? Okay, poll the board. Stu?
Aye.
Anthony?
Aye.
Aye for me.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, meeting adjourned.